As soon as the Alva fell from the hag's grasp, the creature saw its chance, and with the tiny being on its shoulder, tumbled down into the safety of the mountain. As their eyes slowly became accustomed to the darkness, a massive cave opened up before them. The creature beheld it in silence for a while, before remembering its new acquaintance.
"Are you all right?"
it asked. The Alva gave the creature a faint smile, removing a couple of pebbles from her fragile hands.
"At least she won't be able to get us down here. Why do you think she was so interested in you?"
The Alva tilted her head, apparently as puzzled as the small creature.
"Well, no matter now. I guess we need to explore these caves for another exit,"
the creature said.
"I still have a promise to keep, don't I?"
The wingless Alva looked up at the creature, her glow slightly more vibrant than before. The small creature picked up the twig, thinking it might be of some use. The creature uttered as it put its own tiny foot against the rock to compare sizes. A large rock shaped like a foot was sticking up from the cave floor. A rather large piece of glass was sticking out of the foot-shaped rock. As they walked through the dark tunnels, the creature turned to the Alva.
"I'm sorry you were taken from your home at the lake. I don't know if I could find my way back there,"
it said with an apologetic look. But the Alva didn't seem saddened. In fact, she appeared to glow brighter than before, if only by a little.
"It must take great determination to be able to push through something as hard as rock,"
the creature said to itself, as it pondered if it could do the same. A thick root had violently burst through the wall.
"We sure are lucky there is a bridge over there,"
the small creature said to the Alva, feeling at ease. A wide chasm had split the chamber floor in two. creature stared at the large hand for quite some time.
I wonder, does this formation have something to do with the one I saw before?
A hand, seemingly made out of stone, had at some point ended up halfway buried in the cave floor. Deep within the mountain, far away from any light of day, the gruff Roo lives by herself. Miners have been known to catch a glimpse of her in the corner of their eye, some claiming that she is showing them the location of large ore veins, others that she is trying to get them to follow her into the tunnels. If one is to venture into her domain, be mindful of making noise. If disturbed, she is said to bring the perpetrator to the deepest place within the mountain, where the unlucky being slowly turns into stone.
Noise, noise, always hammering, striking the walls, loud, foul beings, strike, strike, strike. It is not theirs to take.
The gruff Roo mumbled to herself, seemingly not noticing the small creature next to her.
Unforgivable! Strike, strike, strike! The rock falls. A spell. Hide it. Yes. They won't leave. Why? They can't see where to strike. This won't do. My love.
For a brief moment, the gruff Roo's voice became soft.
Soon he will arrive. No. For him to see me like this, my appearance unsightly, their fault. Strike, 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 then silence. Pristine. I can't wait to leave these caves behind us. They're a bit creepy, aren't they? Do you know of a place on the outside that could help you get your wings to grow?
The creature asked. The Alva shrugged her shoulders, looking back at it with big eyes.
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll find someone that can tell us what to do.
The creature responded in an unsteady voice. The carvings inscribed on the wall formed a number of strange shapes and symbols.
What do you think they mean?
The small creature asked the Alva as it tried to make out the shapes of the mysterious carvings. When the small creature moved its hand across the carvings on the wall, they gave off a faint, almost magical warmth. Avata was hiding in a dark corner of the chamber, shaking wildly.
Who goes there?
The fat Vata wailed as confidently as he could.
Who are you?
I don't know.
The small creature said with a troubled brow.
What do you mean you don't know?
The fat Vater said as his fear turned to curiosity.
I only recently found myself in this world. I don't know where I belong.
The creature stated sadly.
That's odd.
The fat Vater said before turning silent, wondering if that was even possible. After a while, the fat Vater seemed to have regained his focus.
Enough of your petty problems. Mine are far more severe, and they just keep adding up. There I was, playing my flute as I was searching this wretched mountain after something to retrieve my and my brother's belongings with, when she came running towards me. My music must not have been to her liking, I suppose.
The fat Vater said, looking puzzled as he scratched his head.
If she sees me again, I don't know what she will do to me.
The fat Vater's eyes slowly filled with fear.
Could you help me sneak past her? You can have my flute, and I'm sure my kin will reward you greatly.
I suppose I could.
The small creature responded, even though it was just as afraid as the fat Vater was.
If only my claws were sharp and pointy.
The creature said, looking down at its dainty little hands. Robust roots and vines were blocking the small creature's path. The vines were too thick for the creature to snap with its bare hands.
I don't think I want to know what's down there.
The creature said to itself as it peered into the darkness. The floor had collapsed into a seemingly endless abyss.
There is something odd about these pointy rocks.
The creature said to the Alva as it gazed around the room. In the middle of the room, there was an odd formation of stalagmites.
There is something odd about these pointy rocks.
The creature said to the Alva as it gazed around the room.
Brothers,
The fat Vater said happily.
I'm back again. It seems my brothers are disappointed with my efforts.
The fat Vater said with a heavy sigh as he awkwardly took his place beside the tall Vater.
If they are not willing to talk, I guess I will have to find you a reward myself.
The fat Vater muttered as he rummaged around on the floor.
It's not much, but here you go. I'm truly grateful for your help.
Hey you, Sticky Fingers, quit skulking in the shadows and move over to the smelter so I can see you. Oh, I see. A couple of new Sticky Fingers made their way into my mountain. From atop a chest next to the smelter, a crouching Svartalv was glaring at the small creature and its new-found friend. I shall make it simple enough for your tiny minds. Since this mine belongs to me now, I've decided not to give you anything at all. So go away. I've got enough sneaky Sticky Fingers to keep an eye on already. The small creature looked at its friend before trying to talk to the Svartalv.
I apologize for carelessly wandering into your home, but we would never take something that someone else values so highly.
The Svartalv frowned. Of course you wouldn't just decide to take a pleasant walk through the deepest parts of my mountain. Just because I've yet to find any treasure doesn't mean it doesn't belong to me. The Svartalv reached into his pocket before throwing a small rock at the creature. There, worthless piece of rock that you can have. There are plenty of those for you in these walls, Sticky Fingers.
What incredible heat!
The creature thought as it gasped for air. A large smelter was burning hot in the middle of the old mine, spreading thick smoke throughout the cave.
The cast is empty.
The creature said after taking a peek inside. In the far corner of the old mine, there stood what seemed to be a cast in the shape of a bell. Amongst the equipment stood a newly cut wooden pole, which looked to have been used to carry the heavy casts into place.
This stick looks to be able to hold quite a bit of weight,
the small creature stated. The creature decided to bring the wooden stick with it. On the ground, there were 4 beds, seemingly too short for someone of normal height.
They don't feel very comfortable.
The small creature stated as it walked across one of the beds.
I wonder who's been sleeping here.
Underneath one of the blankets, the small creature found an old stringless bow. The earthquake had rocked the pickaxe loose, allowing the creature to pick it up.
Would this allow me to use the smelter?
The small creature asked. The Svartalv bit into the iron coin before putting it into his pocket.
Look at that, Sticky Fingers. You had something of value after all, and now you don't. Fine, don't pester me anymore. Use the smelter.
A hedgehog was peeking out from its den, still squinting after being awoken from its sleep.
Hello?
The small creature said nervously. The hedgehog took no notice of the greeting, but the creature could hear a faint growl coming from its stomach.
I guess it's hungry. Do you think we could climb down there?
The creature asked the Alva, who responded by giving it a disapproving look.
It's all ruined. We can't eat this.
The short Vata said, waving his tiny arms in the air.
Brother, the beast has returned.
The tall Vata said, tapping his brother on the shoulder.
The plan?
The short Vata cried out. A box was bobbing calmly on the surface of the water.
The contents of the box seems to be damaged.
The small creature said as it took a closer look at it. The small creature reached down into the box and found an old mushy apple. The seemingly endless abyss had surprisingly filled up with water.
I hope that whatever is down there knows how to swim.
The small creature said remorsefully.
Hello?
The small creature said nervously. The hedgehog took no notice of the greeting, but the creature could hear a faint growl coming from its stomach.
I guess it's hungry.
The hedgehog quickly snatched the apple out of the small creature's hands and hurried back to its den. In its retreat, it had brushed off a couple of its spines on the ground.
I suppose I could take these with me.
The small creature said, saddened that the hedgehog didn't seem to want to become its friend. The small creature carefully began to comb the Gruffrew's hair, attempting to calm her down.
He will arrive soon. Preparations.
Yes, I will welcome him at last. My appearance. What will he see? The Gruffrew seemed slightly more relaxed, letting go of a pair of clamps that she had been frantically grasping. The Gruffroo had dropped a pair of clamps on the cave floor.
I wonder where she got these.
The creature gave the wingless Alva a pondering look.
It doesn't look like it belongs here.
As the Gruffroo didn't seem to want them anymore, the creature decided to bring the clamps with it.
He will arrive soon.
Preparations. Yes, I will welcome him at last. My appearance. What will he see? Looking into the mirror, the Gruffroo appeared pleased.
I see. Yes, this will do. My love, he will arrive shortly. Too much time being spent hiding what they sought. Striking, hammering. Why? Unnecessary. They are no longer here.
A Svartalv is not entirely unlike a dwarf, although more sinister in appearance with crooked backs and skin as grey as ash. They live deep within the mountains, gathering precious metal and gems. A Svartalv is driven by greed and attracted to anything that shines, although the purpose for their obsession is unknown.
thief! Sticky Fingers, this belongs to me, all of it!
The Svartalv yelled as the small creature moved closer to the silver vein.
Magical, shining, glimmering, wanting me to have it. You shall have nothing.
After the creature had managed to align the correct combination of symbols, it was able to lift the heavy chest lid. Inside, the creature found a sack of fresh food along with an old metal mug.
The beast is back, brother.
The tall Varta whispered cautiously.
Remember the plan,
The short Varta responded with a clenched jaw.
but it's presenting us with fresh supplies.
The tall Varta mumbled as his mouth began to water.
Hush, the beast can do whatever it likes. Be quiet while I try to distract it.
The short Varta responded, throwing an old saw blade across the cave. As they turned silent, the small creature carefully picked up the shining object while leaving the supplies beside the stalagmites. The small creature used the saw it had assembled to cut through the thick root. A thick root had violently burst through the wall. The creature quietly watched as the thick sap engulfed the rock, coating it in a golden layer, quickly hardening from the cold of the mountain.
What's that you have there, Sticky Fingers? Wherever did you find this gem?
The Svartalf's eyes fixated on the amber.
It's glowing. I need it. Give it to me.
The small creature pondered what to do as the Svartalf continued.
What? Well, how about this? I'll allow you to take a small piece of ore from my silver vein. How does that sound? A small chunk? What do you say?
Before the small creature could answer, the Svartalf quickly put the amber into his pocket.
A trade is a trade. Now leave. I've already said you could have a small piece of my silver ore, if you can get it out of the wall, that is.
The Svartalf grinned as he kept his hands protectively over his pocket. A large silver vein, previously hidden from greedy eyes, had appeared in the middle of the cave.
How wonderful!
The small creature thought.
How could I not have seen such a beautiful thing earlier?
Using the pickaxe, the creature managed to chop off a small chunk of silver ore. The creature put the small chunk of ore into the hot smelter and waited as thick molten silver poured out from underneath it. The creature carefully filled the dipper to the brim with molten silver. As the creature poured the molten silver into the cast, it cracked, making it possible for the small creature to push it aside. As the cast was removed, a shining silver bell was revealed. The sound of bells, especially ones made out of silver, are said to be horrific to certain evil beings. The molten silver had been molded into the shape of a beautiful bell.
What a wonderful object!
The small creature thought as it tried to make out its reflection in the shining bell. Trying its hardest, the creature managed to pick up the heavy silver bell. Using the saw, the creature managed to create a hole large enough for it to pass through. In the middle of the chamber, there was a large head half buried in the cave floor. Berger saw are dangerous, enormous beings long since forgotten by most folk. Long ago, they sought shelter deep within the mountains, remaining in an endless sleep to shut out the sounds of man.
Is it alive?
The small creature whispered, looking anxiously to the alva on its shoulder. As the sound of the silver bell resonated throughout the cave, the ground began to quake. The previously lifeless Burgress had awoken from his long slumber, enraged by the noise made by the small creature and its friend.